So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that.
What type of contrast do you see between economic policies? Do you think that Vice President Harris is going to stand by the idea of taxing unrealized gains?
Well, I think there are a lot of things that are wildly different between the two. The Democratic program seems to be pour money into the hands of people who don't have income otherwise, and they have the highest propensity to consume, to buy goods. And I believe that that infusion of billions and billions of dollars, maybe trillions, as a result of COVID is really what led to the inflation, because that money goes into the pocket and goes right out again. Whereas if you take the same funds that were appropriated, but you build a factory or added to some sort of production, now you've got a supply coming in that could offset the demand that was created by the funds coming in.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. Putting out new videos today. And we had Trump and Kamala debate last night. I did a video. And this debate was clearly staged. And we had ABC help Kamala out. But this debate, whether it was Trump or Kamala, was all about the Hegelian dialectic. And it was played perfectly because the only thing you have to do is go on social media. Everybody's divided. And that's how the NWO loves it. Now we have Wilbur Ross. And we know he was in the cabinet of Trump. And then we also know the history of Wilbur Ross also. I've done plenty of videos on it. But he just said something so powerful, it's going to go over a lot of people's head. He said some people are consumers, and then basically some people are going to open businesses so the consumer can consume. And that statement was so powerful. And we see the sheep are always consuming. And that's about to come to an end. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Now we have Core Scientific making a comeback. Mining and AI teaming up. And they're helping lead the fourth industrial revolution. Now we have Bank of America CEO says the consumer is doing pretty good. But then on the other side, guys, we see Warren Buffett selling Bank of America stock because we know the consumer is not doing good. The consumer is hurting. You can go onto the Fed website, you can go to all these reports, and it lets you know how bad the consumer is doing. And with robots, algorithms, and drones taking the economy over, it's only going to get worse. But we know the NWO has that solution. Remember, they cause a problem, wait for the reaction, and run in with the solution. And that solution is that free money, that programmable money, being able to tell you what, when, how to buy, and you have 3 to 6 months to spend it or poof, it's gone. And we know that is biblical. But that's the reason why we keep hearing these drums getting louder. And we know that's all they need is that crisis in order to bring in all these machines. Me and the family went out to eat yesterday, and guess what we ran into? A machine. And where I'm at, they're moving it in very, very slowly, but you constantly see them popping up. And that's going to be in the TikTok video. Make sure you watch it. But guys, we clearly see the plan. Get in the lab, get yourselves prepared. And remember the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Yeah, looking forward to 2025 and 2026, we are going to become much more predominantly towards HPC revenue.
Towards, I'm sorry, what?
High performance computing revenue. Yeah,
oh, okay.
sorry.
Okay, so AI, basically.
Yeah, AI.
The layperson.
Yep.
So when we are talking about AI and we're talking about the spend of hyperscalers, et cetera, what are sort of the keywords that you hear that indicate to you that demand for your business will be up?
Well, we're seeing the demand today. When we went out and marketed our first set of sites, what we've seen so far is insatiable demand, not only from some of the largest tech companies in the industry, but also from much smaller companies who are looking to enter into the space today, who are looking for smaller allocations from NVIDIA. And we expect that to be an exceptional demand vector for us over the course of the next few years.
Rose like a phoenix, Adam. Congratulations. I'll speak to that because you're probably at the forefront.
Yeah, so Core Scientific, we're a digital infrastructure company at heart, and that enabled us to be the largest Bitcoin mining company for the past 3 years. And as we look forward to the next 3 years, we've been looking at how do we continue to develop high performance computing capacity for this major growth vector of GPU cloud. And that's mainly being driven by AI. And so that's really what we've been capitalizing on, first with CoreWeave. And we're excited to be working on a number of new clients coming down the pipeline in 2024.
And of course, people say all the time, is humans involved in overseeing them? The answer is absolutely. You can program the model for the agents to do what you want the agents to do. But of course, we want the agents to work for people. We're putting AI to work for people with one platform, one data model, and one architecture. So on an end-to-end basis, you can run your company a lot better.
What are your expectations as far as rate cuts from here?
So our team, Candace Brown and Clyde, and the research team, which are the best in the business, they now have 3 cuts in the fourth quarter, beginning in the September meeting and each meeting.
Yep.
And then they ultimately end up at a terminal rate or a terminal short-term rate or the end point 3.25 to 3.5. And so there's a big debate of whether it's 3 or 4 or 2 or 4, and that's all interesting. The real question is somewhere over the next 6-8 quarters you'll get to the end point. And our team believes that is 3.25, 3.5, which would mean a fundamentally higher interest rate environment than anybody has been in the business really since 2006 and 7. So think of how long that is, where the business has really not had that much of a real rate environment, a real nominal rate environment. And so that's the real thing to pay attention to, not necessarily which happens which quarter, but where we're going to end up and then how that affects the economy and borrowing and business after that.
So you think we should get used to higher rates ultimately wherever this ends up? And what are the implications of that? Do you think the market's mispricing that?
Well, if the economy is growing and withstand those rates, that's actually a good thing because that's a more normal environment. We can't have a low rate structure. It means that the economy isn't performing. You're not getting enough inflation. I was talking to a former central banker, and he said, why are they trying to cut off inflation? It took us 15 years to try to get inflation back, and we finally get it back. So there's a debate. So as you move from down towards the level of 2%, the target, you have to slow down and make sure you stay above it because you can't average 2% unless you're above it sometimes because you're going to go below it. So a higher nominal rate with the right inflation tamed is actually a better place for a big economy like the U.S. to be than a very low rate structure. We learned that lesson in 40 years in Japan.
Consumers not getting worse right now?
Consumers not getting worse right now. They're very stable.
Because Ally Financial this morning at this conference warned that auto and card delinquencies were worse than expected.
We're seeing them come out where we thought they'd come out, and they basically delinquencies have going back to where they were more or less in 19. Charge-offs have stabilized after that. And again, people forget that 19 was a very good credit year for our industry. It was like a 50-year credit low for charge-offs in our company. To give you a sense, that's how good it was. So we're only back to around that. And in the consumer side, and consumers have the money in their accounts. They're spending wisely. They're employed. They're getting paid more. Inflation's tough on certain income strata. Unemployment has kicked up a little bit. The job market's softer. This is why the Fed has to start to get more accommodative and not the real drag on the economy. The real rate structure is 200 basis points plus, and they've got to start.
And help from Iran and the DPRK. In these instances, to get actual weapons in clear violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions. Now, Tehran has long supplied deadly drones. It's built a drone factory in Russia. It's trained Russian personnel on how to operate them. For some time, the United States has warned of an additional threat, the provision by Iran of ballistic missiles to Russia for use in Ukraine. We've warned Tehran publicly, we've warned Tehran privately, that taking this step would constitute a dramatic escalation. Dozens of Russian military personnel have been trained in Iran to use the Fata 360 close-range ballistic missile system, which has a maximum range of 75 miles. Russia has now received shipments of these ballistic missiles and will likely use them within weeks in Ukraine.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy. And you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a Treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, if new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance, do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York. From COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.